Good evening, Portage County, and welcome to another edition of Sports Corner. I'm Austin Arnold.
And I'm Ian Herrmann.
Kent State took a trip down south to Southern Ohio, in Athens, in fact, for a 1 p.m. game with the Bobcats at Peden Stadium. Let's go ahead and get to that, shall we? Kent State 2-1 coming into this game in the MAC, and they need everything they can to try and just stay atop of the MAC East standings. And Dante Cephas lowers the boom, and he will go ahead for a 33-yard touchdown to make it 7-0 Golden Flashes early on in the game. And the Flash Fast offense was looking good, but on defense, Ohio's moving the ball, and a strip and a fumble that is recovered by Brandon Coleman, and the Kent State Golden Flashes get it back. But OU would respond. Demontre Tuggle gets the pitch catch for the 10-7 cut down of Kent State's lead, and then Dustin Crum just keeps it for another 4-yard touchdown. That makes it 17-7 in the second quarter for the Flashes. They were rolling, and they were able to be good in the third quarter this week. They were 14-10, outscoring them, as Curtis Rourke runs in for a 9-yard touchdown, cuts the lead to 24-14. Midway through the third, as the Flashes were winning, but Marquez Cooper, he would break this tackle and then hurdle over a defender for the touchdown, 15 yards out. 34-27 was the final. Kent State wins, moves to 3-1 in the MAC. Let's get to Sean Lewis.
Great to get on the road here. Great to get another East Divisional win and stay in control and be in the driver's seat, with what we want to do. Really physical contest. Every single week, that these MAC games are going to be really, really close and really, really hard wins to come by. And our kids fought in all three phases. We had kids step up in a lot of different ways. Guys that have been waiting on their opportunity, and they stayed ready. They got them today and made some critical plays and some critical moments. Got big-time stops, big-time scores, all three phases doing their job. It's great to get a road win, and really proud of the Golden Flashes today.
And the Golden Flashes played a really good game, as like I said, they won 34-27. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the MAC. Eastern Michigan blowing out Bowling Green 55-24. Northern Illinois had a hard-fought comeback win against Central Michigan 39-38. Buffalo steamrolls Akron 45-10. Miami of Ohio, they win in the end in a close game with Ball State. They came back and won 24-17. And Toledo blows out Western Michigan at home 34-15. And for the MAC in general, this is just starting to be a heated race. In the MAC East, Kent State and Miami are tied at 3-1 atop of the conference, and you have Buffalo, who's 2-2. Ohio and Akron are both 1-3, and Bowling Green has not won a MAC game this season. And that is concerning after that Minnesota win earlier in the year. But for the first time since 2013, the Golden Flashes get a win against OU. They sit at 3-1 in the MAC. Dustin Crum, 257 yards passing, 93 on the ground with 17 carries. He had 2 touchdowns as well. I mean, Ian, you look at this game all around. This is a game that Kent State needed to win. What were some of those high points that you took out of this game, on the road?
I think the biggest things, as you mentioned before, we finally outscored an opponent besides VMI in the third quarter. And we hadn't done that all year, being outscored heavily. Finally did that. We didn't turn the ball over once. No fumbles, no picks. That is a good way to win a football game. And we had 200 rushing yards, over 200 passing yards. And that has been the Kent State offense this year, running the ball heavy with some passing thrown in. And we did that against OU, and it turned into a big win for the Flashes.
And I think the biggest key that you pointed out, it's that 14-10 outscoring of an opponent in the third quarter. Kent State, they have been struggling in the third quarter all year long. It has been their kryptonite. But in Athens, Ohio, on this nice sunny day at Peden Stadium, that was not the case. Kent State, very hard-fought win against the Bobcats, and they will move to 3-1, like I said, in the MAC. As we now switch over to soccer, the Kent State soccer team traveled to Eastern Michigan for a Sunday matchup with the Eagles, and contributing to the 2-1 Flashes win was Cameron Shedenhelm, netting her team-leading 10th goal on the season. This win moves the Flashes to 7-1-2 in the conference, and they are the only team that has to face the Ohio Bobcats. That's what's in between them. So Golden Flashes, they will host their season finale on Thursday in Athens. That's going to be a big game for both of those clubs for MAC standings.
And the Kent State volleyball team ended their 3-match week at home in a matchup with the University of Buffalo on Saturday at the MAC. After starting the week with a pair of 5-set losses to both the Ohio Bobcats and the Buffalo Bulls, the Flashes found themselves on the winning end of a 5-set match led by Taylor Herberly's career-high 22 kills. The volleyball team will be on the road the next 2 weeks, kicking things off against the Northern Illinois Huskies on Friday. And the number 22 Kent State women's field hockey team suffered a 2-1 loss to the number 9 Liberty Flames team. The Flames offense started off hot, scoring a goal to make it 1-0 before the 8-minute mark and recorded 30 shots with 21 of those being on goal. Fifth-year goalkeeper Azure Fernsler tried to keep Kent in the game with 17 saves, but the Flames would ultimately take a 2-0 lead, scoring again with just over 12 minutes left before senior Helena Cambra-Soler put the Flash within one. It would ultimately end there with the Flashes losing 2-1. They will face off against Ball State on the 30th for their last regular season game.
Week 10 of high school football is in the books, and we have the action. Stay tuned because we will be right back with more to come.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Your favorite weekly music show just got even better. We are now online serving all the needs of your favorite music media. You can check out our site for editorials and reviews from our writing staff featuring headline news and stellar illustrations from our design team. In the mood for your favorite artists? Check out links to our past episodes on this new and brilliant site. We are now one click away at KentCoreTV2.com. We are Kent Core. We are music-driven media.
Welcome back to Sports Corner. The Cloverleaf Colts traveled to Coventry to face the Comments in a Week 10 showdown. It was win, and you're in the playoffs for the Cloverleaf Colts. Let's get to Coventry, shall we? Early on, Chase Rankin, he had the QB sneak for the score, makes it 7-0 Coventry early. But for the Colts, they needed to make plays, and that's what they did here. Oakley Kemp, he causes the fumble and recovers it as well for the Cloverleaf Colts. And then Joey Judson, he hands it off to Cade Cass for a huge Cloverleaf gain. And this was just the beginning of the end for Coventry as Emilio Rivera, he would score this touchdown to cap off that drive, puts the Colts up big. And then in the end, Emilio Rivera, he would ice the game with this touchdown run. Huge win for Cloverleaf. They're in the playoffs. They will be going to a Week 11, 38-17 is the final. And Coventry, their season comes to an end as they are 2-8 to finish out the year. Let's go ahead to some high school football playoff matchups for across Portage County and the conference. West Geauga, they travel down to Streetsboro for a date with the Rockets. Ravenna, they have to travel to Aurora on Friday. And then the Garfield G-Men, they are perfect right now. They can remain perfect with their game against Sandy Valley on Saturday. And then Woodridge has to travel to Salem, Columbiana County, for that game against the Quakers. So we have some interesting matchups all around for some high school football. And you know, Ian, we look at some of these high school teams, you know, you look at Woodridge, they had a good year. Streetsboro, they had a little bit of a down year. You know, out of those four teams, like you have Woodridge, you have Ravenna, you have Streetsboro, and you have Cloverleaf going, and they're in the playoffs now. You know, out of those four teams, do you think Streetsboro has the biggest chance to really just make a run deep in the playoffs?
I mean, I don't see why not. They have been very good this year. They can definitely keep that going. But I would say out of those teams, I think Garfield actually, they're undefeated as you mentioned. I think they have a shot to make it all the way. They have one of the best running backs in the state, Anthony Dema. I think they could make a run for an undefeated season for sure.
Yeah, and last year their season was cut short against Crestview. They played Crestview this year in their conference now, as they're now in the Mahoning Valley Conference, and it has just been a delight to see Garfield make that transition from, you know, being in a weaker conference to a stronger conference. It's going to be interesting to see how these matchups play out. I think the Woodridge-Salem game is going to be a huge game as well because Salem, they have a very good running back in X-Line. I think he's committed already. I don't remember where, but X-Line could be a huge factor in maybe Woodridge losing that game this season. But it's going to be some great Week 11 high school action all around. Let's go ahead now and switch to college football as we have Illinois and Penn State. And a nice pitch and catch to Sean Clifford to Keandre Lambert-Smith. 42 yards, makes it 7-0 at the end of the first quarter for the Nittany Lions. Later on, Brandon Smith forces a fumble, and it is recovered by Devon Ellis for the Nittany Lions. Jordan Stout hits a field goal from 35 yards out, makes it 10-0 Penn State. But the Illini, they were not trying to just settle down and, have a mediocre game against this Nittany Lions team. Chase Brownie has a 1-yard touchdown to cut the lead to 10-7. And then James McCourt in double overtime. We flash forward this game, hits a 22-yard field goal. Jordan Stout, a 40-yard field goal for the Nittany Lions. But in the end, this was the upset of the day, some may say. Casey Washington gets this pass from Cameron Peters. The 2-point conversion wins it for the Fighting Illini, 20-18. Illinois over Penn State.
Now we will head to Kansas, where Jayhawks were hosting number 3 ranked undefeated Oklahoma Sooners. We'll pick it up in the first quarter. Kansas get us started with this 1-yard touchdown, Devin Neal, and Jayhawks are up 7-0. Second quarter, Kansas up 10-0. Caleb Williams, he fakes the handoff. He rolls to his right. He's scrambling. He looks downfield, but he will be picked off by Ricky Thomas, and Kansas is rolling. But now to the fourth quarter, Oklahoma will finally take a lead after this Kennedy Brooks touchdown to give them a 21-17 lead. And later on, Oklahoma back on offense. Williams doing it himself, making defenders miss, and he is off to the races. He will go all the way for the touchdown. That puts the Sooners up 28-17. And next possession for the Jayhawks, they're looking to stay in the game, and Jake Bean will hit Luke Grimm for the touchdown. Kansas down 28-23. They're trying to go for the 2-point conversion to put it within 3, but Kawami Lassiter will have nowhere to go. He stopped, and that'll keep it 28-23 at Oklahoma on 4th and 1. Brooks, he stopped, but Williams rips the ball out of his hand, and he gets the first down to keep the drive going. Oklahoma completes the comeback, avoids the sweep. They win it 35-23 to remain undefeated.
The Houston Astros and the Atlanta Braves, they are the final 2 teams that remain in the gauntlet of this winner-take-all World Series. And this series was definitely not expected by most fans of the MLB, including myself. The Astros took down the Chicago White Sox in 4 games and the Boston Red Sox in 6 games to win the ALCS. And as Atlanta, no one expected them to beat the Braves in 4 games, and then they go on to beat the reigning world champions in 6 games. This series has all the fireworks for a very good end of the MLB season. The Astros can maybe win a title without cheating for once. That could be the storyline of this World Series. But my World Series prediction is simple. The Atlanta Braves, I have them winning 4-1. 5 games is all it takes. And I think Atlanta has hit their stride at the right time. And I know a lot of people are going to be taking Houston, but Atlanta is hot. They're red hot right now. When you beat a team that won 106 games in the Dodgers, and then you go and beat a team like the Milwaukee Brewers, who no one had you winning against, I think that's huge. They're riding a hot streak, and my World Series MVP is Eddie Rosario, the former Cleveland Indian.
As also saying, the Braves are on a run, but can they keep it up? I am not sure they can. I have the Astros winning in 6. The Braves were able to stifle the Dodgers' offense while being able to put up solid offensive numbers themselves. However, I think the Astros' offense will be too much to handle when it is all said and done. The Astros have scored at least 9 runs in 7 of their 10 postseason games. And another Cleveland player, Michael Brantley, I think he can win the World Series MVP. He's a hit machine and a big reason why the Astros are in the World Series. And when we return, we've got all the action from the NFL over the weekend. Stay with us.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
at Sea Race. Love is love.
Okay, guys, let's get started.
I gotta tell Michaela.
What?
Oh my gosh!
Jake.
You would not believe. What?
Oh, the blurb's on at 9 on Tuesdays.
Welcome back to Sports Corner. The Browns had Sunday off, so we're going to start things off with another AFC North matchup. And we go to Baltimore. The Bengals are in town. We'll pick it up second quarter. Tied game at 3. Joe Burrow will scramble, and he'll throw deep to C.J. Uzomah. And he will break free from Marlon Humphrey, and he will score on National Tight Ends Day to put the Bengals up 10-3. That would be just a day to get started for C.J. Uzomah. To the third quarter, Lamar Jackson with the ball. He'll step up and throw deep to the back of the end zone. Hollywood Brown, that's a touchdown. Ravens up 17-13. But the Bengals' very next drive, Burrow will find none other than his tight end, Uzomah, yet again. He'll break another tackle, and he'll go in for another touchdown. That will put the Bengals up 20-17. And the Bengals on offense again. Burrow, he will hit Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase will do the rest, breaking off a bunch of those tackles, and it's a foot race to the end zone, and you're not catching Chase. He will go all the way. No one will catch him. 27-17 Cincy lead. Now to the fourth quarter. Bengals trying to ice the game. Samaje Perine will do just that, breaking through that Ravens defense. To the end zone he goes. Everyone getting in on the fun. Bengals go into Baltimore and win 41-17.
Let's go ahead and head to historic Lambeau Field as the Washington football team took on the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers on 4th and 3. He finds Devontae Adams for a nice 17-yard touchdown score to bring it to 7-0 Green Bay. But Washington would respond later in the first quarter. Taylor Heineke, being a superhero, gets it to the Ohio State alum. Terry McLaurin, 40 yards, the bomb, makes it 7-7. And Taylor Heineke, he can throw, but this man can run. He's off to the races, up the middle. A defender slips and falls. A 38-yard scramble for Taylor Heineke and the team without a name. But let's go to Aaron Rodgers finding Allen Lazard for a 10-yard touchdown. 14-7 Green Bay. And then on National Tight Ends Day, Rodgers finds Robert Tonyan in the corner of the end zone, makes it 21-7. And on 4th down, Taylor Heineke's denied by that Green Bay defense. 24-10 is the final. Washington falls to 2-5. And the Packers go to 6-1 on the year. And now let's get to some AFC North standings. The Bengals are 5-2 in a lead at the top of the AFC North. Ravens are 5-2 as well in second place. The Browns are 4-3, and the Steelers are 3-3 in the AFC North. And, you know, I was not expecting Cincinnati Bengals to be off this hot start that they've been getting to, but let's now just jump right into some AFC North talk. Ian, obviously the Bengals have been a big surprise. The Ravens have been very good this year too, but the Bengals are 5-2. What can you make of that win against Baltimore on the road?
I mean, it's another statement win, another on-the-road win for the Bengals in the AFC North. They beat Pittsburgh at home at the beginning of the year. Now they beat the Ravens at their place at the beginning of the year. And a lot of people didn't even have the Bengals in second or third place. A lot of them had finishing fourth, including myself. It's a big turnaround. I was not a big believer in the Jamar Chase signing. I thought Burrow would need extra help on that line. They've reformatted that line to help him. Jamar Chase has been a stud, rookie of the year so far in my opinion. That team has been scary. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep up this offensive output and defensive shutdown through the rest of the year.
And it's going to help them a lot next week as they play the New York Jets. And I mean, I kind of talked about it a little bit, you know, just behind the scenes. Maybe I was thinking, you know, the Bengals could make a surprise. And to say that I'm surprised a little bit with how they're playing. But against some of these good teams like Green Bay and Baltimore, I was not expecting the fight that the Bengals have had all season long. I don't know if they can ride this the rest of the year. It's going to be a hard stretch for them going towards the end of the year. But for the Bengals, it is very encouraging for not only them, but for the fans as well, to find a way to get it done against a team like the Baltimore Ravens. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out. Maybe the Browns have a little bit of trouble in the AFC North now.
I don't know. I think the Browns still have it under control. We need to get healthy. I think that's the biggest issue right now. We were able to get that win against Denver, but I think we need to get healthy and the Browns can get back on track, and hopefully they can get the job done.
Definitely. Hopefully they can get the job done.
And speaking of Cleveland teams Atlanta was in town. Trae Young will take this to the hoop. He'll miss. John Collins will get the rebound. Give it back to Trae Young. He'll make some moves. Jarrett Allen guarding him. Trae Young, he'll hit the step back. Bang. That's a swish. Hawks up 16-13. Now to the third quarter. Jetty Osman carrying the ball up the court. Trae Young defending him. Osman to Ricky Rubio. Rubio will make a move. He'll cut left, and he'll throw it up to the rookie, Evan Mobley. He's looked great through the first 3 games. Cavs up 75-62 and 81-69 now. Rubio with the ball, making some moves. He'll jump back. That's a mid-range swish. 83-69 Cavs lead. Fourth quarter now. DeLon Wright with the ball. He will cut, in a bad switch by Lauri Markkanen leads to a wide open layup. And now late in the fourth, Ricky Rubio trying to buy some time. He will go left, looking, and he will shoot another mid-range, and that one will go in as well. Good night for Ricky Rubio. Cavs win their first game of the season, 101-95 at home, and they're 1-2 on the season now.
Let's go ahead and head out west to LA. The Grizzlies and the Lakers in a high-profile playoff game potentially match up. Ja Morant just pulls up and splashes a three. He's been one of the best point guards through the first 3 games. Let's go to Morant doing it on the offensive end again as he finds Brandon Clark for a nice alley-oop slam. And then Russell Westbrook, the new Laker, he finds the king of all kings, LeBron James, for another three-pointer that we've seen so many times in Cleveland. And then Ja Morant, look at that beauty and ask from him as he crosses up Kent Bazemore and slips by AD to get a hard-fought finish at the rim. But then Russell Westbrook, he drives, he'll miss his box shot, recovered by Carmelo Anthony as he puts it back home for 2. Ja Morant trying to make something happen in the end, and he's fouled by Kent Bazemore, so he'll shoot 3 free throws, and the Grizzlies have a chance to tie the game. But Ja Morant, he's been so good all year long, misses a free throw at the end. Lakers win 121-118.
Good evening, Portage County. I'm resident NBA insider Michael Neenan, and I'm here to tell you about one of last night's games, the Celtics and Rockets game. Let's take a look at that. Here in the second quarter, Jalen Green loses the ball, and Marcus Smart goes coast to coast, gives it to Grant Williams for the slam. Here, Kevin Porter Jr. passes to Jalen Green, who hits a 3. Jalen Green now 5 of 5 from beyond the arc. Now, Jason Tatum goes in for the layup off the screen off Al Horford. What a play. Jason Tatum hits that tough 3 off the step back. You just can't guard him. Beautiful. Now, here in the fourth quarter, Jason Tatum loses the ball. Alperen Sengun goes in for the hustle play, and Jay-Sean Prince goes in for the dunk. Amazing. Here, ball moves around a while, and Jason Tatum puts up the 3. Amazing. Now, here in the fourth, Jalen Green goes up for the 3 and ties the franchise record for 8 threes by a rookie. Celtics win 107-97.
Okay, Mike, after seeing these last 3 games, how has the Lakers' big 3 looked so far?
Well, the fit between LeBron James and Russell Westbrook is already looking a bit rough. Both guys are ball-dominant players who need other guys to help space the floor for them. And with the Lakers playing double big man lineups fairly often, the spacing for the Lakers has been absolutely atrocious. It's still only 3 games, but the Lakers' big 3 has a lot to prove.
Which team has impressed you the most so far?
So far, I gotta say the Chicago Bulls. They're 3-0 to start, though admittedly their schedule has been a bit weak. But I feel like this squad is finally turning into a legit playoff team. Their defense has been great. Their many off-season acquisitions are proving to be massive contributors so far. I think they're looking like a Bulls team that, for the first time in years, is actually scaring people.
Okay, and finally, Mike, which player do you think will win the MVP this season after seeing the first week of play?
I'm gonna have to go with Steph Curry. I'm expecting another monster season from him. Only the Warriors look like they will be a great team this year, especially if Klay Thompson returns. Like it or not, MVP winners are generally guys who lead their teams to a lot of wins. So if the Warriors can get a top 3 or 4 record in the West, I think Chef Curry is gonna take home the award.
When we come back, we'll have our award-winning segments, My Stardom or Sit 'em, Austin's Magic Moneyline, and our men on the Silver Mountain. Stay tuned.
We might root for different teams, but we all respect the game. And we can all root for each other when we wear a mask. Mask up, America.
Can we get strawberries? Okay.
Welcome back to Sports Corner, everybody, and you know what time it is. It's Magic Moneyline time. Let's go ahead and see what I have tapped up for you guys this week. I'm 1-1 right now. The final pick that I had with the Seahawks over the Saints, that game is tonight, so I'm either going to be 1-2 or 2-1. But let's get to the Magic Moneyline for this week. We're going to start off in the UFC with UFC 267. Finally, UFC 267 has been here after almost a month of waiting. Got Jan Blachowicz, the light heavyweight champ, beating Glover Teixeira, -300. Let's get to the NFL. The Colts have won 3 of their last 4 games, and the game that they lost was to the Ravens on Monday night. They've been playing very good football as of late. Frank Reich has rallied that team, so I think they beat the Titans at home on Sunday. That's a +100 underdog for them. And then finally on Tuesday, I have the Braves +120 over the Astros. I think they pick up a huge Game 1 win and go up 1-0 in the World Series.
And my stardom sitting, we can't count last week because Sterling Shepard got hurt before the game and Miles Sanders got hurt at the beginning of the game. So let's say I'm still on a streak from the other 2 previous weeks. I say start Elijah Mitchell. He's declared #1 with Mostert hurt, and he showed that last night. He's going up against a shaky Bears defense that is not good against the run. And sit Jacoby Myers. He isn't putting up the numbers as the #1 receiver on the Patriots, and who would look to sit him unless you absolutely have to use him as a flex this week. And my man on the Silver Mountain is D'Ernest Johnson. The Browns were down their top 2 running backs, and Johnson stepped up to the plate and was outstanding. Johnson had 22 carries for 146 yards and a touchdown. Several years ago, Johnson was DMing AAF teams for a tryout, and after Thursday night's game, he could be a starter for half the league's teams. Johnson solidified the Browns have the best running back room in the league. Johnson will get some more looks, most likely as the backup against the Steelers this Sunday.
My man on the Silver Mountain comes from Greensboro, North Carolina, and newly acquired member of the Greensboro Swarm, Danny Pippen. Pippen was picked up by the Swarm over the weekend after the G League draft concluded and will start on their training camp roster for the beginning of the year. Pippen is 6th in all-time rebounds for the Golden Flashes and 3rd in all-time blocks. In his 4 years, Pippen had the Flashes he had 4 years with the Flashes, 10.5 points per game, 6.1 total rebounds per game, and he averaged over 1 assist per game. We wish Danny nothing but the best, but that is all the time we have for this week. So we hope you guys enjoyed the show from Austin Arnold.
And I'm Ian Herrmann.
Thank you guys for watching. You guys have a great night.
Wizard, roll for deceasedness.
My Dark Wizard casts Super Fireball.
The wizard has only rolled an 8.
What? This is garbage! Spell.
No way
Level
a roll like that
10.
doesn't hit a level 1
I
goblin.
have
Are you
7.
serious? You gotta be
Oh my
kidding me.
God!
I have
What is
just
going
a baby
on?
goblin.
Cease your quarreling, children.
What?
No! What are you doing, you crazy monster?
Nanny?
Oh my
What?
You should stop being nerds and playing D&D and be nerds and watch All Systems Go Wednesdays at 9.